This is your hostess with the mostest, Jenny, or aka Jennifer DeVoe, from Jenny's Real Talk on the Block, LA Talk Radio, Channel 1, iHeartRadio, and we are broadcasting live from the LA Times Festival of Books. We are at booth 912. That's 912. Come down and check it out. 912. That's Black Chateau Enterprises. You have maybe about another, I don't know, so it looks like about 39 minutes to get your butt down here before the LA Times Book Festival closes down here at the USC campus at downtown Los Angeles, because they're shutting things down at 5 o'clock. And hopefully they don't kick you out into the street, or into the train track, rather. Because we know that's for damn right. We are, well, actually, the reason we're here today, in the first place, is because of this woman, Desiree Duffy. Owner, PR person, author. She's like so many things. But what she does for authors to help them get the word out about their books and media placement, just all the things that she does for Black Chateau Enterprises. That's the name of her company. So be on the lookout for this go-getter, because she can really help you if you're especially if you're an author, you're even thinking about writing a book. Come check her out. It's Desiree Duffy, Black Chateau. If you get down here in the next 38 minutes or something, you might be able to say hi to her. So come on down to USC campus in the next 39 minutes. You too can talk to Desiree Duffy.
Traffic
hurry. All right. Well, I've been speaking with a lot of the authors the last 2 days that you showcase, and I've been featuring here at the LA Times Festival of Books. Some really, really incredibly gifted writers of so many different genres and different subject matters, and it's been a really a great blessing. It's been just a great experience to talk to these people and to listen to their stories and their journeys on how they wrote the book and what place they came from to write this. And thank you so much for everything that you do for authors.
Thank you. Thank you for being here, Jenny. You guys are awesome. I love you guys. Thank you for interviewing my authors and hanging out. It's been fun. Actually, I've had several authors come back to me. Hey, let's you and I and Jenny and the husband just go and hang out one night. We'll drink some wine.
I'd be down for that.
She is so down to earth and fun and cool. Like, everybody loves you. Thank you for being here.
You're welcome. I have a good question. Can I bring the vape pen?
Yes. You can bring more than the vape.
I can roll a blind?
Yeah, exactly. That's right.
Cool. She didn't want to endorse. It's Los Angeles. Come on now. We're in LA.
One or two of my authors endorsed that. Put it
nice.
That way.
We like it. We like that fact. The owner, Sam Hassan of LA Talk Radio, is also an avid edibles and vapor himself. Yeah. So we love it. And we're here today, and we want to talk to you about what does Black Chateau and Desiree Duffy offer to authors?
Well, we offer a lot. So a lot of times what happens as an author, especially if they're indie or self-published, they're just not sure where to go. If they didn't get hooked up with a publisher, I can help fill in those gaps, doing some of the things for the publisher would have done on the marketing and PR front. And I'm not going to print your books or anything like that, but I'm going to get interviews, I'm going to do press releases, advanced reviews, I got book bloggers, I got connections to Neck Alley. So, if you're looking to launch a book, I can take you along that process, again, just like a publisher would have done in the past, so that you're getting what regular authors would get. If you are a published author, if you have books that are out, I can also help kind of breathe new life into your titles. If you have some backlist books that need to be researched, especially if you're coming out with a next book, a lot of times I'll build momentum with the author, kind of building them up for that moment when the next book comes out, especially if it's in a series. And if you are with a publisher, nowadays publishers aren't doing the marketing and PR they once did. So I'll come in and I'll fill in those gaps in a lot of ways. I've had authors come to me and say, the only thing that this publisher is doing for me is sending out some review copies. They're not booking the book signings and the interviews and all of that. So I've found the different niches that I can kind of fit into and help authors out. What helps is if I can sit, talk, figure out what their needs are, what stage they're at, if it's pre-launch, if they've already got something out, and we customize a plan for them.
I like that you do all that. Now, let's say they need somebody that can, print their book. Do you have resources you can hook them up with people that can actually, print their copies?
I'm not a printer. I can make suggestions, and I will do that. You can go through Create Space, which is owned by Amazon. They'll do printing for you. But there's caveats to that. And I always try it because I'm not going to anybody else, and I can't control it. Some of the caveats necessarily getting the book distribution into stores, because Amazon is going to, they want you up. And the bookstores aren't going to order from Amazon. You can go through Ingram Spark. Now, Ingram, as a company, is the largest distributor of books in the world. They virtually do it for everyone. They have a platform, Spark, for indie and small press, and you can go through them. Sometimes I tell authors, you know what? Hedge your bets. Do Amazon for your digital or your Kindle, and you can go through Ingram for your paperback and your hardback. If nothing else, you can at least just use Ingram to print out copies for events and getting your advanced reading copies. So one of the caveats of Big Space, they don't send you more than 5 reading copies of your book. Which makes it hard for me trying to do publicity for your book to send out, because we want to send out books for reviewers to read it in advance and start talking about it. So sometimes with Amazon, they like to be in control in a lot of ways, and that takes away a lot of the freedoms from authors. But there are different things that I've learned, and I'll instill that onto my authors so that they kind of know the ins and outs. Ultimately, though, it's up to them how they want to get it printed and go through that.
And how many authors did you have here over the last 2 days at the LA Times Festival of Books?
We had 12 authors.
Ooh.
Yeah. So we were doing 6 authors a day, 2-hour signing spots for each of them, and you met a good number of them. You hung out and chatted with a lot of them, so yeah. Yes,
and they were all great people, and I'm sure that they are very lucky to have you, and let's say if somebody comes to you with a book idea, but they don't really have much of it written yet, they're just kind of they just figured out what subject they want to write about or what they're going to do. Do you help them through that process as well?
I can help them in as much as I'm happy to sit down, grab a cup of coffee, talk with them, give them a little bit of sage advice. You can kind of take it or leave it. Let them know what they might be navigating. I do, and I can help with book development.
Yes.
And with editing. Not that I'm not an editor. I don't claim to be, but I do know editors. I have people that I can bring in. In a lot of ways, what my company does, I have freelancers that specialize in different things, and so I bring them in to get the job done. A little bit like a manager, or the guy on the construction site that's making sure everybody else is doing
foreman.
Yes, that's it. So one way or another, I can help you out if you're at that stage of the game, because ultimately that informs the marketing and PR, right? Because one of the things that sometimes gets tricky if it comes through the book and it's like, wow, this isn't edited the way it should be, or the story could have used a little bit of tightening, or who is this? It seems like you were writing for, young adults, but yet you went off on a couple of tangents that you probably shouldn't have because it wasn't, constructed the way it should have been. So all of those things inform the marketing and the PR. You make my job harder if you have, those flaws in it at that stage. So again, I can help with that.
Well, I like the fact that you have resources, you have access to resources for these authors that you can hook, even if you can't do that yourself, other people in the industry actually point them to. This guy does editing, and this guy does, product development, and this guy does, merchandising, and this person does online websites. And, you can, help them, point them in the right direction for them to be able to develop their book better. Mm-hmm. And what would you have to say to, new authors that are just coming out and really want to make a how to say, a splash or make a mark on the economy, or make a mark in this industry, because there's so many authors now. Like, what do they got to do to set themselves apart?
That's the trick, right? You nailed it. That's it. So the one great thing about the internet, kind of like it's done to music, and I know you know music, it's given everybody a platform. If you want to release your music, you can. You can get it out there. But just like with music, you're in a sea of thousands, hundreds of thousands. There are 4,000 independent books released per day.
Oh my God. Wow.
So that's wonderful. If you want to write a book, you can do it, but then it goes back to that editing and making sure you got a tight story, etc., and setting yourself apart. And that's part of what I'm here for. You want to market and do it yourself? You can. There's plenty of authors that do that. But if you'd rather spend your time writing and working on the art, I can come in and fill in those gaps.
Yeah, I remember I spoke to Autumn about that yesterday, about the development and what you have to go through the process to get everything going and to get everything set up. And like, oh yeah, she had a storyline, and then she kind of developed it over time and just worked with it. And just, I don't know, some of the authors that I spoke with the last 2 days, I mean, there's different genres even. Like, I mean, there are people who wrote sci-fi, horror, fiction, all kinds of different things. Like, so many different genres, fantasy. There's so many different cross genres. I mean, I like the fact that you are versatile in that industry. Now, is there a specific one genre that you like more than another, or you just want to help all authors?
I love all books, and I actually like having a variety of genres. One of the reasons is because I work with people like you. You love authors too. I've never heard you say, I don't want to have that author on my show because they write romance and I don't cover romance authors. You are into authors and books, right? So what I do too is, part of my program is we do a monthly article, and it's a book list. So I love actually having a variety of books on that, because you have something for everyone. If you're into sci-fi and fantasy, there you go. If you're into romance, love stories, nonfiction, memoirs, biographies, guys.
I like the fact that you give them a platform that they can be themselves, and that there's like, I mean, so a lot of these are like cross genres, like a cross between sci-fi and fantasy and time travel and just all these different types of books. And as I'm talking to the authors, like, in my head, I'm picturing, when I talk about their books, I picture different things. Like, some of them I'm picturing like the 5th Battalion. I'm picturing like I hate to say this, L. Ron Hubbard. And then when I think of like Mostly Human, I think of the way he was describing it. I don't know, I was thinking of I'm trying to remember what movie that was, but there was something. The way he was talking about it, I was like, that sounds like Total Recall. You know what I mean? That sounds like this. I see these awesome things that we grew up with in some of this writing. And I love the fact that you give them that platform that they can be themselves and get the word out on their books. And where can people find you and your company, and how to get a hold of you? Especially if they're an author and they really need help in the PR marketing department, how can people get a hold of you?
BlackChateauEnterprises.com. That's my website. That's the easiest. Again, Black Chateau Enterprises. Even if you just Google Black Chateau, I'll come up, or look up my name, Desiree Duffy. And I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, etc. I'm easy to find. They can call you too.
Well, as long as stalkers can't find you, we're okay. You said you're easy to find. I'm just saying. And now I know, as I mentioned at the beginning of the interview, you are also an author. If you want to just touch briefly on that, like, I mean, I know how much you love books, and I love the fact that you're an author as well. What's your book about, or books, or and what's your pen name?
I'm doing this is because I'm an author myself. So I learned as I went. My professional job before starting Black Chateau as vice president of a digital marketing agency.
Ooh.
So I took that and infused it into marketing my own book. Again, that's why you see me doing a lot of social media and stuff like that. That's a good core foundation that I have. My book is called Oubliette, A Forgotten Little Place. I write under the pen name Vanta M Black. And let me ask you this: do you know what an oubliette is? Do you know what that word means?
Which is kind of funny because that's French, right? That's French. I'm French, but no, I have no damn idea what that means. What does that mean?
It literally was a pit, a dungeon inside of castles where they would throw people to forget about them. It was a nasty, vile, evil place. And when I first heard about the concept, they were talking about an oubliette at the castle in Ireland, which is supposed to have been the most haunted castle in all of Ireland.
Oh, wow.
And during the 1920s, they took out the bones from over 150 people.
Wow.
From many, many years, going all the way back to pagan days.
Wow.
And I was struck that all of these people had a story forgotten in time.
Wow.
Were they there because they were a prisoner of war, a criminal? Were they standing in the way of somebody's inheritance and they were murdered? Like, there's all these stories buried. So my book is fictional. I made up the stories, but it's based on different times in history.
Oh, wow.
Like during the time of the French Revolution, the pagan days,
Bastille, all that.
the Black Death, all of that. And each storyline revolves around somebody who perished inside the oubliette in a castle in France. And then there's a modern day storyline of two sisters from Los Angeles who are lured there, and only they can save the spirits that are trapped inside.
Oh.
That's my book.
Oh, that sounds so awesome. I mean, my favorite TV show in the entire universe is Supernatural. And that sounds like a huge, like, a whole season of Supernatural right there. I'm just saying. Do you see this? Oubliette, you said? Oubliette? Do you see this becoming like a TV series, a movie, book series? And if there is a book series, how many do you have in the series?
So right now it is one big fat honking book. It's
pretty
really
big.
Yeah, I made it for people who like to read and then they get mad when they have to look.
Yeah, Stephen King novels. I love them.
Yeah. It's a juicy one. I'm actually talking with people right now. Kind of, I guess they call that redevelopment for a TV series. So it's in the works. I'm not going to say too much more, but yeah.
I can see a female Supernatural coming. No, in the sense of, you know what I'm saying? Like, but have it that name. But, you know what I'm saying? Like two sisters that are fighting evil and to, rid. And, oh man. That sounds, I could see a book series and like movies and stuff coming from this. And I really hope that happens for you.
Thank you.
But I mean, especially, but Black Chateau Enterprises, I love what you do for authors, and I like where you started from and how it all began. And how many years have you had this company?
Technically, I've had the company for 3 years.
Oh.
I kind of started a little bit on the side as I was, still formally employed, got the business form. I published my book under Black Chateau, so that an imprint. But I officially launched a little over a year ago. So it's my birthday.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
That's the same with us, January of last year. Isn't it wonderful? We love launching new businesses. It's so awesome. I want to thank you so much today, Desiree Duffy, for being with us on James Will Talk on the Block, LA Talk Radio Channel 1, iHeartRadio, reporting live from the LA Times Festival of Books, from booth 912, Black Chateau Enterprises booth. Well, we're going to be out of here in 20 minutes, so we just want to wish everybody a wonderful week. And just want to thank you so much for being on the show with us today.
Thank you, Jenny. You and the husband are awesome, and I love you both.
We love you too. Well, we wish you much luck for the future, and we hope this becomes one of the biggest PR publishing marketing companies in the whole world. All right. All right, we're out. Talk to you on Wednesday.